There we go. It is Tuesday night, the third Tuesday of the month, and this is DMR Tech Net TV. Welcome, everyone, and hopefully you guys are going to join us. We have some good questions for our guest, and hopefully you got the DMR Tech Net TV newsletter. Comes out once a month, sometimes twice a month if I get off my butt. But I'm Dana KC0MYP, along with other DMR TechNet members currently in attendance. We got Steve KC8WXM, Rick 88KN, and there's our good friend Tom N8PJ. So here's how this works tonight. We will introduce Jeremiah, our special guest, say a few words to him, then we'll let him give a presentation. After the presentation, we hope you have some very good questions because he's here to answer them. And Jeremiah, W9JM, one of those personalized vanity call signs. Good evening. Welcome back to DMR TechNet and DMR TechNet TV. And
Evening.
you've got an interesting biography. So, but you work for BridgeCom Systems. They're one of the heavyweights. And disclosure, I have my radios are purchased from Anytone, and I've got 3878s, 38578s, and three Sky Bridges. And I like it. I know Stan isn't here. We were debating this because you guys sell a plug and play package. It's great to get started, but you got to learn how to do stuff. Even though the radios, you turn it on, a minute later, you're ready to go talk on the air. But if you want to add a channel or a talk group or tweak some settings, people don't want to learn how to do that. So, but that was one of Stan's questions. But anyway, let me introduce my friend Jeremiah, W9JM. Jeremiah works at BridgeCom Systems. Jeremiah, tell us about you, your job, and what you do with tech support.
Well, I actually help customers with getting set up with their radio or their Skybridge or their plug and play package if they're running into issues, getting everything working right out of the box, as well as if they do a standalone radio or a standalone Skybridge and they've got questions. I work with them to help them get things set up so they're able to take and go through the university courses that we provide so they can learn, how to take and add extra channels and how to take and, go into the custom settings on their Skybridge so they can set it up to allow a second DMR ID on. So, one of their friends that has a hotspot that runs on the same frequency can use theirs too when they're over at their house, is just not at the same time. So there's varying things that I do at BridgeCom. One of them is tech support. The other is the BC Plus manager, and also working on designing the new courses for the upcoming radio, as well as going through and trying to get all the details for what needs to be updated on existing courses. And as you can tell, Dana has his three Anytones right behind him with his 3D printed knobs. Great way to be able to figure out which radio is which, so you don't have to pull the battery off and be like, okay, which one is this? Is it the one with the marker on it, the two, or the three? So color coding knobs definitely helps with that.
Indeed, it does. And I let me just ask a quick question. I know that BridgeCom Plus had worked on trying to get colored knobs. Are you guys still working on that, or what's the status?
That is something that I have to check into because I'm not sure where that is right now on if we're going to be doing that or not. I have got to check tomorrow during the meeting, or excuse me, Friday during the meeting. Each week we do a status meeting for BridgeCom Plus, as well as the university to see where things are, what needs to be done, and what the general feedback is so we can take and work on making things better and like lining up guests and getting topics from emails that are sent in so we can take and figure out what people actually want to see during our live stream. Because now we do the first 30 minutes of the BC Plus live stream on YouTube, as well as Zoom. And then the second 30 to 45 minutes is after we go off the air on YouTube. So that's when we usually get into the question and answer section for the BridgeCom Plus members.
That's cool. And why don't you explain the difference between BCU and BC plus? Because some people are like, what the heck is he talking about?
Okay. So BCU is the overall overarching university platform. That has all of the different courses, the 878 course, the 578 mobile course, the Skybridge course, the repeater course, the G90 course, because we used to sell the G90, as well as some of the workshops that we had previously done. And what BC Plus is it's a membership program that you can do either a monthly, an annual, or a lifetime subscription. And it lets you have access to all of those courses, as well as the individual training during the week that we do on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 7 o'clock Central. And when we do those trainings, we try and gear it towards making sure that it's for the BC Plus members. But sometimes we do interviews with people like Bob K6UDA, I believe was his call sign. We did that a while back. Also, we just had Karen from RT Systems on to talk about the RT Systems software and how they got started, what radios they make software for, programming cable, stuff like that. So, in addition to the training programs or training episodes that we do, we also have guests that come on and talk about various things as well. And one thing we do with BC Plus members, which again is separate from BCU, you get all the courses that BCU has with the BC Plus program, as well as any new courses. Um, the one thing that we do is we actually have discounts as well as early launches for new upcoming products for the BC Plus members. So before anybody could order the new Anytone ATD 168 UV, we made sure that our BC Plus members got first crack at ordering that radio. And
That's
that
cool.
should be here at the end of the month.
So these things are all made in China, it sounds like.
Yes, they are Anytone radios.
But they're good. You know, the 878, in fact, for disclosure, you can see I got three of them. Steve has one or two, I'm trying to remember. Rick has one, Tom has one. I believe Alan also has one, and I'm not sure if everyone else. Lucille has one too. So, and I called Jeremiah, and he was able to help my friend Bob, KB8DQQ, troubleshoot something over the air and get his hotspot back working again. What is the biggest tech support issue you deal with today?
The biggest one, I would have to say it varies month to month, but the three that seem to be the revolving wheel have to be which software do I need for my radio? Um, how do I update my firmware on my radio? Do I need to update the firmware on my radio? And if I get one of these pre-made code plugs from you guys, does that include the uh, local analog channels for my area?
Hmm.
For those who don't know, we have what are called the super code plug and the ultra code plug. And these are pre-made code plugs that can be used on any of the Anytone radios, the 878 or the 578. And we're getting ready to release the updated versions of those that will work with the 168 as well. That basically let you set your hotspot to the 446.55 frequency and set your DMR ID on the hotspot, set it in the radio, and then it's pre-programmed from that point on to use DMR. We do not set up local in those code plugs because the areas are so varied and people have different requirements on what they want. Whether it's, I just want the 10 closest repeaters to me. I don't really go outside my area. I'm kind of a homebody. or hey, I want to be able to travel the whole state, it would take a lot of effort to make varying code plugs for those. But we do have an option where somebody can work directly with me and let me know what they want. And for an additional fee, we can do what's called an advanced tech call, and I can take and work on getting that code plug created for them, building off of either the super or the ultra code plug. So they have their DMR and their local programmed in for their Anytone radio.
That's cool. And I like that plug and play package because it's, I mean, 1 minute, take the radio, turn it on, hotspot, turn on. And I believe you said the hotspots comes pre-configured to hook up to Wi-Fi and they're on the air.
Actually, when we set up the SkyBridge, it's pre-configured to be plugged into the Ethernet cable and plugged into their router. Um, if they're wanting to do Wi-Fi, there are some additional steps, and depending on what they're wanting to do, as far as if they only have Wi-Fi, like some of the people recently that we've had order plug and play packages have, I think it's Starlink, the satellite internet. And on a lot of those, from what I've been told, I've never seen one in person. They don't have Ethernet ports on them. It's just a Wi-Fi router that hooks up to the satellite modem. So what ends up happening is they've got to get everything set up, and we end up having to take and set up a call where I can get on the computer with them, and we get a micro SD card reader. We and this is one of the big things. If you do the plug and play package, don't take the card out of the SkyBridge unless tech support tells you to, because um, a lot of people will accidentally overwrite that card and then wonder whether the SkyBridge isn't working again anymore. They'll like save a family photo or something on the card and they've erased a system file. So we have to re-image the card to get everything working again, which takes between 15 and 30 minutes on the phone to do. But the big thing is having that micro SD card reader so I can help you through your own computer and teach you as I'm doing it what the steps are to fix it. And I even have a document that outlines all the steps now for resetting up your card. So
Comes in
I've done a few
handy.
things to help.
Excellent on that
But
one. Let's go
um,
to let's see if Steve, I'll bet Steve, if he unmutes himself, he's got his little dog. Is that Penny, I think, with him. But
Listen,
Steve's also a BC Plus lifetime member. And I know Alan is a annual member. And but Steve, you've got in fact, Steve won a radio, he told me, on BC Plus, which is kind of cool.
I won the Skybridge Max. So
That's a good
yeah, that
hotspot,
was
but
that's a
it
great
is,
one. I have mine wired directly into the router, so
yeah.
I
And
would
also
only have to
Jeremiah,
place a card
yeah,
on it.
I did have Starlink, and the first version, which is what I had, did have the Ethernet ports on it. The later ones
okay.
didn't, but who knows? Steve, let's go round robin, see who's got questions. Steve, we'll start with you. What do you have for Jeremiah about BridgeCom Systems?
Oh, not really a question, but just a comment. When I first started in DMR, I was looking at a bunch of YouTube videos. Uh, I bought something on Amazon. I was trying to get stuff started, and I think it was a lot of the videos on YouTube from BridgeCom Systems that helped me out to get started up in that. Then I realized I could have started with uh, a a, a play package, gone a lot faster. But I do like the videos on the BridgeCom Plus. The videos for everything are great. I know you keep them updated. The ones I liked especially were I got the G90 and they had a whole bunch of videos in the G90. Those were excellent videos. Um, yep, that's about the only comment I have.
Okay. Well, if you've got any ideas for videos that we are missing, and this goes for everybody, if you think of a video that we should have that we don't have available, what I can suggest is actually sending me an email at bcplus@bridgecomsystems.com, and I can see what I can do to get that figured out and work with the people that help with creating the script for the video and getting that done so we can take and, fill in that missing piece of information that somebody might have or have a need for.
Yeah, there's a lot of videos, I'll tell you that.
Yes,
Hey,
there are.
Tom, good evening. N8TJ, Tom, welcome as one of our BC or our, sorry, I'm having sinus issues over here. Tom's one of our DMR Tech Net people. Tom, you've got some Anytone equipment, if I'm not mistaken, and didn't you have a G90 also?
I got a GD77 Radiodity for my first learn how to do DMR radio, and it took me a few months to figure it all out. I didn't use anything from BridgeCom except I watched some videos from him, the tall, skinny guy. I don't know his caller's name. I learned some stuff from there, and then I think that's when, or after I talked to you guys, I got the 878, which is a very good radio. I really like it, and anyway, it seems to be working pretty well. So I kind of took it to the next level. I didn't even know about, once I started figuring out DMR, then I got to the good sources, I guess. I don't know. It took me a while to get the whole thing figured out. It's a whole new concept to me that I tried to really get a grip on. I started to get into DMR because I noticed when I was programming I bought a new analog FM radio for my truck, and I was going up north a lot. And so I started programming. I noticed some repeaters had 4-digit decimal points. And I just wondered what the heck that was. And of course, that was digital DMR repeaters. And so that's how I really stumbled upon DMR. I thought, well, that must sound cool. And then I took it from there. So it's just a new concept to me that you charge for teaching ham radio. It's a good idea. It's a leg up because DMR is hard, but yet it's available to technicians. So you're a brand new ham, and I guess in today's online world and things, you used to go. I literally knocked on a guy's door when I was about 16 because he had a big antenna in his yard, and I knew he could help me with ham radio, and he did. I took my license at his house in my neighborhood. So nowadays, you just get online, I guess, and that would have been about 1976. So it just seems very odd to me, the business plan for BridgeCom. Does BridgeCom make a lot of money? Do you guys, like customer service, is that where the money rolls in, or does it roll in on 878s, or how does BridgeCom, it's been around, it's definitely doing well, it's still here. Where's the business end of BridgeCom? Is it in the customer service, Jeremiah?
Well, actually, as far as the customer service part goes, when somebody buys one of the new radios, they get the training course for that radio with the radio. That's something that we do that nobody else does. Now, if somebody got their radio somewhere else and wants to get the training course, they have the option to buy the training course by itself. So that's the option there. As far as where BridgeCom makes its money, it's basically on the radios themselves and having the customer service and support to be able to do the stuff that other companies don't do. Because I'm not going to name names of companies, but I get calls from people that bought their radio from company XYZ, and they were told to call BridgeCom because they're Anytone. And what happened over the years is people basically looked at BridgeCom because we had all of this marketing, the courses and everything, and affiliated us with Anytone, even though we are not Anytone themselves. We are a reseller, just like other companies are, but the difference is we put in the time and the effort to help people get started. And that gets the name recognition. And when you take care of the customer, they come back and they refer other people to come back. And it's that, you know, um, I'd like to say word of mouth, as well as the marketing, as well as our Google reviews, that people can look and say, oh, wow, they've got, this many stars on reviews, and people got back to me in this amount of time. Whereas they get told, well, you need to call Anytone directly by some other company to get support. And that's the one thing that we're trying to avoid is we want to make sure that we're helping the customers when they get a product from us, is we help them sort out whatever the issue is, if it's within our power to sort out. So they can get on the air and get talking to people all over the world, whether it's, the guy down the block that's in the DMR2, or the guy over in the UK, or, the guy in Australia that's up in the middle of the night while we're all awake during the day, that's just chatting away on Talk Group 91, and, you're able to talk to them.
That's pretty
So,
cool. You know what, Jeremiah, that makes perfect sense. And no one really does it. I did call when I bought my GD77 from buy two-way radios, or one of these smaller places, and they helped me for 15 minutes on the phone, and that of course was a lot when you don't know anything. But it wasn't any. It was just a good guy that answered the phone at that company. So I don't know of anybody else that does it like BridgeCom. Where is Anytone? Where's their headquarters?
Anytone is based out of China.
But where's their headquarters? They don't have a U.S. headquarters?
No. They are based out of, oh Lord, the name of the town is escaping me right this moment. It is in China.
Starts with an or something.
Yeah. I think it's close to Shenzhen, China.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the exact name of the town.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Well, I just wondered because I kind of have a two-part question. Like Yaesu, ICOM, Kenwood, they have this model. They have the TS520. Then a couple years later, they have the TS530. Then they keep going, and you get, I got to get the new one. I got to get that next one. Anytone, I get the feeling maybe this is just how it is these days, is they've just built a lot of radios, and then they change the firmware, and then here you go. Like, what's the next 878 going to be? Is there going to be an 879 or an 888? Or doesn't anybody know? The 878's been around a while, and I do like it. I do like. There will be something like that.
There's actually going to be a newer model that is going to be called the 890. It is in development. But right now, Anytone kind of let the cat out of the bag a little early on what they were working on, because back in 2023, they had a flyer that had all of their products they were working on developing that they were hoping to have released in 2023, 2024. And one of those products was the 890 and I believe it's the Anytone 570. Which is going to be a faceless version of the 578 that uses the BTO1 as either a Bluetooth or a corded microphone for the screen. But Anytone has been really good about finding ways to implement new features into new firmware. But as far as the newest radio from Anytone, which is the 168, which is this one right here, because I've already got one of them, this has a completely new microprocessor in it. So the boot time is roughly 3 seconds faster than the 878.
That's the one thing about the 878. It takes a while to boot up. And if you accidentally turn it off, they're all going to be waiting for you when you turn it back.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the 168 UV does have a couple of things that are new that the 878 and the 578 aren't going to get. One of them is the USB-C plug on the side of the radio. You can actually charge the 168 by plugging in a USB-C to USB Type A cable. And for those who don't know what that looks like, the USB-C cable, okay, perfect example. This cable right here is a USB-C. You'll notice it doesn't have the teeth on either side of it like the micro USB does. And then this is your typical USB Type A cable. So you take a cable like this is a really short one, but it comes with a cable that's similar to this that plugs into a USB Type A, and then you plug it into a USB-C the USB-C on the radio, and it will charge the battery. Also, the charger does away with the barrel connector. So now you can use a USB-C charger to charge the radio if you set it in the cradle, instead of having to have a barrel connector. So you can actually take that cradle and the radio with you anywhere and charge it.
Cool.
So that's something new for the 168. The 168 does not have GPS or Bluetooth as of right now. But you can go into the APRS settings and set up a fixed beacon location for doing digital APRS, transmit and receive, and analog APRS transmit only. It doesn't receive analog APRS, but it will transmit it. The other new feature is QDC 1200. And anybody in the Motorola world knows that there is the MDC 1200 standard. And Anytone has come out with their own version of that is compatible with Motorola's. And that is something that is new. And with the new processor in the 168, it has a lot more memory, so they can build the feature set out on this radio as time goes on.
Cool.
Hey, Tom, Steve found out where Anytone is located. He put it in the chat, but it's a building in a zone, in a district, in a city, in a province.
Yeah, I was just hoping they did have some money going into the United States instead of back to China. But I kind of figured that because I looked for it and I couldn't find it either. I have one more question, but you can go on, Dana, if you want to go and come back or whatever. Someone else.
I was going to say, if Rick is another DMR Tech Net person, Rick, I know you've got some Anytone radios, but what questions do you have for Jeremiah at BridgeCom Systems?
Oh, I've got an 878 UV.
No,
it's not a plus, it's not a 2, or it's not a 2, it's not a plus. The latest version of the software, was it 3.4?
3.04.
I was looking for that because I wanted to get the satellite information. And I went out to BridgeCom site, and it has the software listed from the main page on the support page for the 878 UV or UV2 plus. And nowhere, I couldn't find that in, the model of my radio on the support page, only in the current, the latest, greatest model of the radio on the support page. I did find it by searching the site and looking for that. It kind of spooked me from updating till I can get a backup going, because I don't want to put the wrong software in. But
Right.
if you listed the one thing is, list the different models and links to the different model update page. It would be very helpful. Two is I downloaded a couple of the updates. Looking at one document inside the update, it lists as the 878 UV on both updates, and one was for the UV2 plus, and one was for the UV, I think. So an inconsistency in the documentation that comes with the updates, as well
Okay.
as it's hard to find on the website. So that's my main complaint right now, I guess, is, there's not enough, the website doesn't have the older models for support, which to me should have.
Yeah. So I didn't have a hand in setting that up. Let me go to our website real quick in my web browser,
Okay.
because when you click on support, it takes you to where it's got the policies, the frequently asked questions, and the product
Mhm.
support page.
Hey,
Um,
Jeremiah, if you want to share your screen so other people can see what you're talking about, that might come in handy.
yeah. Give me 1 second to get back over to Zoom here and pull the web browser up to another window here. Okay. So when you click on support on BridgeCom Systems website, this is the page it automatically goes to. Um, if you click on see all articles down here, because it considers each product support section an article, if you click see all articles, it pulls you up to the general product dash support part of the support page. And then you can scroll down and you'll actually see the 878V1 model.
Mhm.
And that applies for the UV and the UV plus. And that's where the firmware is right
Okay.
here. I will bring that up to the engineer and the website team to let them know that maybe for support we need to have a drop down that says, you know, uh, the actual product support instead of going to policies, frequently asked questions, and then product support. So instead of going to this page first, maybe we can have a drop down on right
Mhm.
here.
Yeah, you're looking for the models and
Right. That just says just list our three most recent or four most recent models, which would be the 878 UV2, 578, 878 UV, and Skybridge Max. That might be the option that we need to put in there. So I will let them know about that in the morning during the morning meeting.
well, I would go and list just the 878, and in that subpage, then you have the different models on that page. That way, you can, if you only list the 878 UV plus, then for somebody that's looking for just the 878 or UV, then okay, it's where do you find it? Where you don't have it listed. So there should
Maybe
be another.
changing it instead of saying V1, put UV/UV plus.
That would help, or yeah, or
Yeah, that's something I can actually take care of on the support
a
site.
page that can actually go to, the 878, and then on that, somewhere on that page, then you've got the 878 V1, whatever, or 878 UV, and
Right.
878.1 does not equate to 878 UV in my mind. That's just probably a hang up I have. But then the 878 UV2 and 878 UV2 plus, if they're separate, if it needs to go separately from there, but something that includes all of them specifically in a title. And if an update's for several models, then list all those models, in the line for that update, and that would help greatly.
Yeah.
'Cause I get,
Um,
I don't want to get the wrong software and take a UV plus, UV2 plus, and try and update my 878 UV and end up with a mess. Then I'll be calling you.
yes, because that actually has happened before where somebody loaded the wrong firmware on a radio
Mhm.
and then it ends up in another language because the radio doesn't know what it's supposed to be on.
Uh-huh.
So that unfortunately has happened before. Um, Even after they sent a support ticket in beforehand asking which software do I need to download. And I asked them which radio they had, and they ended up saying, well, I've got this radio, and they were looking at something completely different instead of the label on the back of the radio.
Okay.
Cool.
So,
Stan, come to find out that you've got some Anytone products, but Jeremiah told us last week that they're going to come up with a new code plug that has PGIF channels in it. And the DMR Tech Net channel, 31268, will be included. But
yes, it
what
will.
questions do you have for Jeremiah?
Well, I don't have anything specifically at all. As I came by a Skybridge Plus that I upgraded, and I've been pretty happy with it so far. It's been very reliable, and WPSD is working wonderful. I'm still a Radiodity radio person. I have an 878 sitting here in the box where I bought it 2 years ago, and I've never taken it out because the other radio is simple and does everything that I want to do with it. So one of these days I'll get it out. Then I'll have some questions for you, Jeremiah. But good information tonight. Really appreciate it.
Not a problem. If you actually want to take the code plug from that Radiodity, is it a GD77?
Yeah, I've got the GD77s running Open GD77. I've got GD88s. I've got DB25Ds. Yep.
This was actually my first DMR radio. I got it for $40.
Well, I bought mine brand new for 94, and then I have bought probably 6 of them since at varying prices used, and they were real bargains. They were really bargains. So they've lasted. They've done well.
Yeah. If you get to the point that you want to take the code plug, as long as I don't know if the OpenGD77 software has the ability to, I think it does, where you can export the channel list and the zones. If you get to the point that you want to just take and get those set up for the 878, so everything's identical as far as the channel and the zone layout, let me know and I will see what I can do to help you with that.
Okay, that may happen one of these days. Right now, I've got a lot of other things that we're that we're dealing with after the double whammy on the hurricanes and tornadoes.
Yes.
But yeah, they're, I said, nice radios, and I've been really pleased. The Skybridge, I can't believe how robust that is compared to the generic MMDVM devices that I've been using. And
yeah, because I'm sure you've seen where some of those come with a little piece of paper that says to set your offset in your software for this number. And the one thing that we try and do with the Skybridge is make sure that there is never an offset that needs to be set. We know that our board supplier, we work very close with them. It's a proprietary design, and the board is actually assembled in North America, and the units are put together in North America. So that is one thing that we can say is, although there's parts that do have to come from other parts of the world, obviously, because of where chips are made, the Skybridge is put together in North America. And we work very closely with them to make sure that we're using high quality oscillators in the Skybridge. So it takes and has as close to a zero offset, if not a zero offset, as possible. So you never have to worry about that.
Yeah. And regarding the offset, too, let's say I have an MMDVM hotspot of some type, and I go in and I take radio A and I fiddle and I set the offset. Now I take radio B, and that's not offset is not going to be the same. Is that correct?
Depending on which radio you're using, and this is personal experience. This isn't anything against any particular brand. I've had a couple of radios that I had to run the MMDVM Cal or MMDVM Calibrate program on the software itself to figure out what the offset needed to be for the radio, even though my anytones were 0 offset on 3 different anytones and worked fine with that hotspot. The radio's oscillator may have drifted, and I had to go in and reset the offset specifically in the radio's channel programming. And with Anytone, they actually did it where in the CPS software, you can set a offset if you know your hotspot is off for that particular hotspot frequency channel. It's called correct frequency. And you can take and put that in, and that'll allow you to use your radio that isn't off frequency with that hotspot that is off frequency. So it really depends on the hotspot and the radio. If you ever have a Skybridge or an Anytone that is under warranty, and we find out that it is drifting, or we suspect it's drifting, what we'll have you do is send it in. We'll put it on the bench equipment, figure out which one is actually the problem. And if it's something that the radio's in great shape and you're like, hey, just go ahead and put whatever the offset is in it, we'll do what you want us to do. But if we notice that it's way off and it's under warranty, we're going to replace the radio. So you'll end up with a brand new unit that is tested before it leaves to make sure it's working with, if it's the radio that's the issue, we're going to replace the radio. If it's the Skybridge, we're going to replace the modem board in the Skybridge. Because as long as the Raspberry Pi 4 board in the unit is working correctly and like it should, there's no point in replacing, the computer part of the unit if it's working like it should and it's just the oscillator on the board itself. And one thing that we do that I don't know if other suppliers do for the Anytone radios is we actually have it where you can get an extended warranty for the Anytone radio up to 4 years. So that is something that we offer. And with the plug and play package, you can get an extended warranty as well. So if either of those pieces has a hardware issue, we'll replace it under that warranty. And it's between like $30 and $60 depending on and that was the last time I checked. I got to look. But it's between 30 or $60 to add that extended warranty. And if you're kind of rough on your equipment, but it's a hardware issue, we want to make sure that your equipment's working. So if you get that extended warranty, that's something we can use to take and, warranty the radio, warranty the Skybridge, and keep you up and running. And as long as we can read your radio and your settings off your Skybridge, we can drop those into the new units and send it back to you.
Well, one question for you, and it's more of an advice thing. Got a friend. He heard us talking about DMR for so long. He went out, he went looking at things. He went to you guys, and we've been finding out, in bits and pieces. He bought everything, including the kitchen sink. I mean, he's got a 578. He's got Skybridge. He brought, I think he's bought two code plugs. He's got certificates for those. He's got all this stuff. And we start talking, and I look at him down at the end of the table, and there's just smoke rising from his head. He just can't wrap himself around how this all works or what to do. And last I heard, he's trying to sell everything. He's only had it for maybe 2 or 3 months. What do we do? What do we do with a guy like that? Well, how do we get him in the fold? You know?
Get him a
Well,
GD77. Get him an open system, open GD77 radio.
Well, what I would say on that is if he bought all that stuff, definitely make sure that he's going through the university courses that came with the equipment to fill in some gaps on the knowledge, but also reach out to me. I'm not that hard to get a hold of. Let me show you guys real quick how you can submit a ticket. Because I have appointments every day that I'm working with multiple people during the day. And how you actually get to where you get me, because the ticket will come directly to me if you follow this procedure, is go to bridgecomsystems.com, click on support, and then up here where it says contact tech support, click there and put in your first name, your last name, and are you an amateur, a business professional, GMRS, FRS, CB, whichever one of these applies to you. And if you've got a call sign, put that in, and the order number. If you don't have the order number, but you did get everything from us, I can look it up as long as your email matches what's in the order system. And then, your email, a good callback number, because that is one of the biggest things I've had an issue with is somebody mistypes their phone number and their email address, and I'm spending forever trying to find out, what the correct way to get a hold of them is. And just give me a general description of what's going on. Hey, I got all this stuff. I don't know where to start. Can you help? And I can set up a remote session where we can either go through Zoom or we can go through the program I use, which is called Zoho Assist. And we can get, in there and we can start going through everything. And, this is how this works. This is how this part works. This is why this is this way in the code plug. This is exactly what a code plug is. It's just a programming file that contains all your data for the radio, all of that stuff. And I'll be glad to work with somebody to help them, get the smoke to settle and, actually get the light bulbs to turn on.
Speaking of,
Because I don't want anybody to be left out.
Speaking of smoke, I returned a 578. I did get it from BridgeCom. I just looked up the receipt. It was very good service. It was like Mission Impossible driving down the road. All of a sudden, smoke started coming out of the radio and receive. And I called them up. I guess I called them, Jeremiah. I didn't go online. I don't think I did that. I don't usually do that. I just gave them a call.
Yeah.
And they gave me a return number and replaced the radio. He said they didn't even have to open it up because it smelled like smoke.
Yeah. Once the factory installed smoke escapes the radio, as long as it's under warranty, it's going right back to any tone.
Yeah.
So as long as, you let us know what's going on and we're able to find your order in the system. If you've got your order number, that helps us a bunch. But again, as long as, you give us your name and your email address, we can find you in the system for your order and we can get that taken care of for you.
And they reloaded the code plug too. So it's pretty much just like the same thing when I got it back, except brand new.
And it still had the factory installed smoke.
Right, except it was sealed a little better.
All right, who else has questions for Jeremiah? Vance, Ron, John, Alan, Bob?
I just want to say that when I got going with this, I've had Yezu and doing a lot of the analog stuff, but my brother lives in Michigan, as some of you know, and we decided to go with DMR so that we could talk back and forth between Michigan and here and pick a few out. And one of the things I did is when we called up, I talked to Ron, and he was the one who just picked up the phone. And I said, I want something that's going to just be there and turn it on so I can work on it. I don't want to have to learn it right now. I just want to be able to use it first. But I'm one of those people, if I can use it, then I can do modifications with it. and it really just worked out super with them, and it's very good. And I got to talk to Jeremiah one of these days. I still have problems trying to get to some of the courses, and I think what happens is they have another user code in there for me, because when I first bought it, financial stuff, I was using one user code for email address. The other one was the one I use now with it. So there's a little bit of mix up there with that. Nothing major.
Hey, Ron, I have a question. Because you're BridgeCom Plus Lifetime, is that right?
Yes.
Jeremiah, you mentioned something for lifetime members last week about AT or automatic calls or whatever. You want to explain that?
So for people that are out of warranty or they got their equipment somewhere else, or they're wanting like a dedicated one-on-one training session that falls outside of normal support, we do have what's called an advanced tech call. Lifetime BridgeCom Plus members actually get 2 of those a year. Annual members are going to get 1. And then there is anything more than that, there is a discount that is available. And I'm looking at updating that. But Ron, you mentioned something that I wanted to bring up. Starting next year, BCU, BridgeCom University, is going to be using a new platform. So that will actually help us get away from a lot of the issues that we've got right now with the current platform. So what that's going to do is it's actually going to allow you to have interactive conversations with other members via an instant messenger that's actually an instant messenger, as well as everything will be a lot easier to keep updated. And we'll be able to drop the Zoom meeting links in specifically for the BridgeCom Plus members in within a couple of minutes instead of having to redo everything with the way the current platform is set up.
That's great, Jeremiah.
That is something that I'm working on, but there's over 470 videos now that are on BCU, and each course has its own set of videos, and I have to recreate those on the new platform. So I've got to go one by one through the videos to rename those video files so they sync up. Because the current platform, even though the file names are specific to the lesson in the course, when you download them from that website, on my end, it gives me a randomly generated number instead of the file name that it's showing me. So I have to go through one by one and rename each file. So as you can imagine, that's taking a little bit of time to do. So
Jeremiah, will there be something in the new system that you can put in a keyword as part of your search field and be able to pull out videos that are related to that, such as, CPS 878, or plus or something like that, so that you don't have to go through and try to look at all the indexes there, but you can actually just, in some sort of search, try to pull out specific ones that you're looking for a particular type of content.
That is one thing I haven't looked at yet because I was focused on getting all the videos downloaded first and making sure they're in the correct folders for each course. I do have some of the new systems set up, so that's something that I can look at. Ron, are you going to be on the BC Plus meeting this week?
Thursday, I'm planning on it.
Okay. Remind me Thursday during the after show.
Yep.
And I will take and pull the website up so you guys can all see it on the Zoom link. So I can show you what I've got done so far and how things are going to look. And we can look into that search option together.
Great. The other thing, Jeremiah, it's not a big thing can you put the extended warranty on providing it's still in a warranty?
I have to talk to management about that because the standing rule as of right now is it has to be purchased at the time of purchase.
Okay.
But I can check with management and see what they say about that. But as it stands right now, the rule is it has to be at the same time the order is placed.
One of the things you might want to, just from a customer point of view, you really don't know what you're getting and what you need until you have it.
Right.
So it'd be nice if there was a period in there you say, okay, remind us and we'll just go ahead and do it. I had a problem trying to sign up for BC Plus because in this website there was a problem and they just had the 1 year membership and 30-day or something like that when it first came out. And I really wanted the other one, and Adam couldn't get it in there or whatever. I don't know. But anyways, you ended up getting it for me. But it's one of those things you really don't understand until you know what it really means. So
yeah, and that's the one thing that I work on day in and day out is, besides the support tickets, if anybody's having the issue with their account with BC Plus or the university, that is part of my daily task, is getting those resolved. So if it's something that takes me a little bit of time, I will definitely email you back to let you know I'm working on it and let you know once I've got it resolved or how we have to get it resolved.
Sounds great.
There is that. But yeah.
Cool.
Ron, I know
it's not you with that. I was just really, the thing they were trying to get access. Summer's just hectic for me, just with everything that's going on and we're doing and whatnot. So now that fall is here and you're back in the house again a fair amount, especially during the rainy weather, I'm going to get back on top of that. So thank you, Jeremiah. You do a great job for us.
Well, I try. But yeah, if you have any problems, Ron, just let me know so I can get it addressed.
Yeah, I'll drop a support ticket in there.
Okay.
And
thank you.
And Jeremiah's email is jeremiah@bridgecomsystems.com, in case you guys didn't know that. Anyone watching. John 88OD, do you have any questions or something? And because we only got about 3 minutes left. And Jeremiah, did you say also the 878 now has that special battery with a USB-C charger spot on it now?
Yes, the new version of the battery does have USB-C on the bottom of it. I will let you guys know that if you're ordering from the Amazon store right now, there is some new old stock, meaning it's new radios, but they're from the last shipment that are mixed in with the new stock that have the USB-C batteries. So if you get one of those Amazon radios that has the old battery, let us know so we can take and get that resolved for you. Because they should all have the new USB-C chargeable battery now.
Good to know. Vance, John, Alan, Bob, anyone else?
So if I buy a spare battery for my 878, it will have a USB-C charger on it or USB port on it?
Actually, I need to check on that to see if we have the USB-C batteries in now that are actually for sale.
Okay.
Rick, do this for me. Send me an email at the Jeremiah@bridgecomsystems.com.
Okay.
And I will check with shipping and inventory in the morning to see if we have those actually available for sale yet on the website themselves, or if we only have enough right now for compensating for any that are stuck out there because of new old stock at Amazon. Because I don't want to tell you we've got them and then we don't have them because we're waiting on them to come in from Anytone. Because that would just be bad customer service at that point, because I'm telling you something that's not true and I don't want to tell you something that's not true.
You will have them in the future, though, at some point.
Yes, they are. Okay. I do know we have some that are on their way to us from Anytone.
Okay. Because I like to be able to charge with USB-C. I hate carrying around that stupid charger.
Yes.
The other thing is, if you have them plugged into USB-C for charge, can you turn the radio on and listen?
My understanding is listening, yes, but transmitting, no.
There's not enough juice coming through the USB.
Right. It's more or less just like having it plugged in on the charging cradle. It charges at that slower rate, so it doesn't overcharge the battery
Mhm.
or overheat the battery. Because the last thing you want to do is have a lithium ion fire sitting in the
Yeah.
car seat next to you.
Well, it sounds
It's-
like they put a BMS in the battery.
Yeah. So, yeah. The one thing I do know about the 890 is it is up in the air right now on if it's going to have the same USB-C charging as the 168 does,
Mhm.
or if they're going to stick with the USB-C charging battery and keep the K connector plug for programming. The 168 uses the USB-C cable for charging and programming.
Okay.
Cool.
So,
All right.
Do you know
It's
when the
9 o'clock.
168s are going to be available? 'Cause we ordered
they
them
are
and-
on their way to us. We're supposed to have them by the end of the month.
Okay.
Cool. Hey, it's almost 9:01. It's we've done our hour. I want to thank Jeremiah W9JAM of BridgeCom Systems for joining us this month on DMR Tech Net TV, and appreciate his time, effort, and explanations and answering your questions on that tonight. By the way, here's a fun fact about Jeremiah. A lot of you don't know, but he actually has a identical twin brother.
Yes.
So,
Who is not into radios at all.
unfortunately, we'll have to get him going on that one, Jeremiah.
Well,
All
one of
right.
us had to be good at the electronic stuff. The other one's good at, tearing apart a car engine and putting it back together. So, I mean, it's one of one hand and one of the other.
Good for him. All right, that's it for the October 15th edition of DMR TechNet TV. Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you, other DMR TechNet TV members, and for everyone else for joining us. And we'll see you next month. Don't know what the topic's going to be, but we're working on finding someone. So thank you all, and good night from DMR TechNet TV.